Have you ever watched a senior at the gym, maybe even yourself or someone you love, doing an exercise that looks completely normal, maybe even healthy, but something in your gut said, that can't be right? Maybe it was the way their face tightened, or how their breathing changed. Maybe it was the silence after the workout that made you wonder, was that helping, or was that quietly hurting? Listen, I get it. We've all grown up hearing how exercise is the key to a long life. And that's true, but not the whole truth. Because not all exercises are created equal, especially when you've passed a certain age. In some moves, some routines that are praised for strength and stamina, they're doing more harm than good. I've seen it far too many times, seniors trying to stay active, stay young, stay independent, but slowly wearing down the very organ that keeps them alive, the heart. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 6 exercises that seniors, maybe even you or someone you love, should stop doing immediately, not next month. Now, I'll explain why these common moves are quietly dangerous, how they strain the aging heart in ways most people never talk about, and what safer, smarter alternatives you can do instead. Because knowledge really is power, and the right kind of movement can keep you healthy, strong, and independent for many more years to come. So if you care about your heart, or the heart of someone you love, comment heart health below. And if you want more honest, life-saving guidance like this, hit that subscribe button. You're watching Elderly Care, and we're just getting started. Now let's talk about the first one on our list, and it might surprise you. Picture this, a 70-year-old man, energetic, motivated, determined not to let age win. He joins a fitness boot camp, starts pushing through rounds of burpees, jump squats, mountain climbers, all part of a high-intensity interval training workout, or HIIT. Everyone's clapping for him. He's sweating, smiling, breathing heavy, but still going. And then, in the middle of a sprint, he stumbles, grabs his chest, and goes down. Here's the thing. HIIT isn't bad in and of itself, but it wasn't built with the aging heart in mind. When you're younger, your heart bounces back from those rapid spikes and crashes in heart rate. But as we get older, especially past 60, our blood vessels aren't as flexible. The heart takes longer to recover. The arteries stiffen, and recovery becomes slower, less efficient. When you throw in sudden, repeated bursts of maximum effort, what you're really doing is shocking a system that thrives on rhythm and balance. And yet, so many seniors are told, just keep moving, push yourself, no pain, no gain. But for someone in their 70s or 80s, that kind of advice can be dangerous. It's not about being lazy or weak, it's about being wise with your energy. Now, I get it, most people think high intensity equals healthy. And sure, movement is critical at every age. But intensity, that's not the same as impact. What your heart needs in your later years isn't to be jolted into overdrive. It needs steady effort, predictable, calming rhythms, movement that supports the body, not overwhelms it. So instead of HIIT, try steady pace cardio. Go for a brisk walk in the morning. Take a swim. Dance gently to your favorite oldies. The goal is to raise your heart rate gradually and keep it in that healthy range, not send it skyrocketing and crashing over and over again. Because when your heart is already working harder just to keep up with aging, the last thing it needs is to be yanked around like a yo-yo. But here's what most people don't realize. It's not only fast, aggressive exercise that causes damage. Even the way you sit while working out can quietly strain your heart. Let's move on to the second exercise, one that seems gentle on the surface, but quietly takes a toll over time. Prolonged sessions on a rowing machine. Now imagine this. A senior gentleman, maybe in his late 60s, gets into a routine at the gym. Every morning at 9 sharp, he's there. He heads straight for the rowing machine. Headphones in, water bottle ready. He rows steadily, sometimes for 45 minutes, sometimes a full hour. He feels good afterward, tired but accomplished. But over the months, he starts to notice something strange. Climbing stairs feels harder. He's winded more easily. His chest feels a little tight some mornings, but he brushes it off. Must just be age. But it's not just age. It's what's happening inside while he's rowing. See, rowing might be labeled low impact. And yes, it is on the joints, but not necessarily on the cardiovascular system. When you row, your upper body leans forward and compresses inward again and again. That forward motion, That hunch position puts subtle but constant pressure on the chest. It narrows the space your lungs and heart have to work. When done for too long, especially without breaks, it restricts blood flow and limits oxygen. The heart starts working harder just to keep the same rhythm. And for a younger person, that might not be such a big deal. But for older adults with stiffer arteries and less elasticity in the chest wall, this becomes a dangerous habit in disguise. The blood's not moving as freely, the oxygen isn't circulating the way it should, and what looks like a peaceful exercise session is actually a slow, silent strain. That's the problem with how we label exercises. Low impact doesn't always mean low risk, and the biggest risk here is time, doing it too long without knowing the internal pressure it's building. So if rowing's part of your routine, here's a better approach. Keep it short. 10, maybe 15 minutes max, focus on posture. Take breaks, and don't rely on rowing alone. Mix it up with standing exercises that open the chest and get the lungs working fully. Because the real goal isn't just to move, it's to move in a way that supports your whole system, not just your muscles. And speaking of posture, let's talk about one exercise where how you hold your body, especially your arms, can make all the difference. This next one might sound familiar. Now let's talk about heavy overhead weight lifting, something I see all too often, especially in older adults who are determined to stay strong. Picture this, an older woman, maybe 75, independent and proud of it. She's always been active, raised a family, worked with her hands. She believes in strength, not just in spirit, but in her body. So a few times a week, she picks up her dumbbells and lifts them straight overhead. 10 reps, 3 sets. Every time, she doesn't want to lose her upper body strength. But then the dizzy spells begin. Subtle at first, a bit of lightheadedness when she stands up too fast. Then during a workout, she pauses mid-lift, her vision blurs. She sits down, catches her breath, thinks maybe she just skipped breakfast. But the truth is, it's the lift itself that's putting her at risk. Here's why overhead weight lifting becomes dangerous with age. When you push weight above your head, especially heavy weight, it forces your body to hold its breath and strain. That moment of tension sends a spike of pressure through the chest, into the blood vessels, and especially into the aorta, the main highway that carries blood from your heart to the rest of your body. With age, that aorta becomes less flexible, more brittle, and when pressure builds suddenly, it's like turning a faucet on full blast when the pipe's already weakened. This is what most people miss. It's not just the weight, it's the direction and position that create risk. You're elevating the arms above the heart. You're compressing the rib cage. You're asking your body to hold everything tight in the most vulnerable direction possible. Yes, strength training is incredibly important as we age, but not all strength training is created equal. Just because you can do something doesn't mean it's safe for your heart. So what's the alternative? Focus on movements that strengthen without putting pressure on your chest or sending your blood pressure soaring. Lateral raises are great. Use light resistance bands at shoulder height. Work on posture and controlled motion instead of max effort. You'll build stability, maintain strength, and protect your cardiovascular system at the same time. Because the goal isn't just staying strong, it's staying smartly strong. And now, let's move on to an exercise that feels harmless, almost nostalgic. You probably remember it from gym class, but now, it could be one of the sneakiest threats to your heart. Let's move into one of the most misunderstood exercises for seniors: intense core crunches and sit-ups. Now, picture someone in their early 70s. They're disciplined, maybe even a little proud. They've always believed in keeping their body toned. And lately, they've been focusing on their midsection. Every morning, without fail, they lie back on the floor and do crunch after crunch. Legs bent, hands behind the head, straining to sit up over and over. They're thinking, if I can just keep my core strong, I'll stay balanced, I'll avoid a fall. But after a few weeks, something changes. During the exercises, or sometimes even just afterward, they start to feel a tightness in the chest. Their breathing shortens. Not always sharp pain, but enough to make them pause. They wonder if maybe they're just out of shape. Maybe it's normal aging. It's not. Here's what's really happening. When you do a crunch or a sit-up, you're not just bending your body forward. You're compressing your entire midsection. The stomach tightens. The rib cage folds. the internal pressure increases, especially around the diaphragm, the muscle that helps your lungs expand. That rising pressure pushes inward and upward, and when done repeatedly, it puts stress on the heart. It limits how much room your lungs have to fully expand, and that can reduce oxygen flow just when your body needs it most. Now think about that in an older body, where the tissues aren't as flexible, where the heart may already be working overtime just to keep the beat steady. It's not just uncomfortable, it can be dangerous. There's this old belief that a strong core means a strong body. And in a way, that's true. But strength doesn't mean strain. And for seniors, safety has to come first. So what should you do instead? Try gentle core stability movements that don't fold your body like an accordion. Pelvic tilts are great. They strengthen the core while keeping your spine supported. Standing leg lifts with light balance support can also activate the midsection in a safe, upright position. Even slow, mindful walking engages the core in a more natural way. You don't have to give up on strength. You just have to build it in a way that works with your body, not against it. And now, let's talk about one more activity. On the surface, it looks simple, honest. It reminds you of youth. But when repeated over and over again in older age, it starts to wear down the heart in ways you'd never expect. Let's talk about long-distance running. Now, I want you to picture this. A retired man in his late 60s, maybe early 70s. He's always been a runner. It's his morning ritual. 5 miles through the park before breakfast. Rain or shine. He says it clears his head, keeps him young. And he's proud of it. Still running while friends his age rely on walkers. But then something strange begins to happen. He starts to notice a flutter in his chest. Not pain, just a subtle, rapid beat, sometimes skipping, sometimes racing. He chalks it up to stress. Maybe he didn't hydrate. Maybe he didn't sleep well. But the flutters don't go away. And soon, he's sitting in a doctor's office hearing a word he never expected. Arrhythmia. See, the truth is long-distance running, especially when done regularly, for years, can take a toll on the heart. Not in your 20s, not even in your 40s, but in your later years, the story changes. Your heart, like any muscle, responds to pressure by adapting. When you run for long periods, over and over, the heart starts to thicken. That's called cardiac remodeling. It sounds like a healthy adaptation, but in older adults, it can actually make things worse. Thicker heart walls mean stiffer movement. It becomes harder for the heart to pump blood efficiently. And when that rhythm gets thrown off, it opens the door to irregular heartbeats, fluttering, skipping, even sudden drops in blood pressure. The misconception here is powerful. If I can still run, I should. But ability doesn't equal safety. Just because you can keep up the pace doesn't mean your heart is thriving on it. You might not feel the strain until it's been building for months or even years. And by the time symptoms show up, the damage may already be done. So what's a better approach? Replace those long, steady runs with brisk walking. Or try interval walking. Walk for 5 minutes, pause and breathe, then walk again. You still get your heart rate up, still enjoy the outdoors, still feel strong, but without pushing your heart past its safe limit. You're not giving up your health, you're guarding it. You're choosing longevity over intensity. And last, but not least, we're about to look at an exercise that really surprises people. It looks peaceful. It feels gentle. It's found in almost every senior wellness class. But when done a certain way, it can quietly become one of the most dangerous for the heart. This next one might shock you. Let's talk about deep forward bends and inversions in yoga. Something that feels almost sacred. We think of yoga as peaceful, restorative, and in many ways, it absolutely is. But certain poses, especially deep forward bends and inversions, can be quietly risky for the aging heart. Picture this, a senior in her early 80s. She's graceful, committed, always early to class. She moves into downward dog with focus. She even attempts headstands with the help of a wall, because, as she puts it, I don't want to lose what I've built over the years. After class, she smiles, but you can see it. She's pale, breathing just a little too fast. Later, she mentions feeling lightheaded, dizzy even. Her instructor suggests water, maybe low blood sugar. But the real culprit? The poses themselves. When you invert your body, tilt the head below the heart, fold deep at the waist, you shift blood flow toward the brain. That sudden change increases cranial blood pressure. It also stimulates something called the vagus nerve. Now, the vagus nerve is a powerful part of your nervous system. It helps control heart rate and blood pressure. But overstimulation, especially in a sensitive, aging body, can trigger a drop in heart rate. It's called bradycardia, and it can leave you feeling dizzy, lightheaded, or worse. This is where the misunderstanding lies. Most people believe all yoga is safe. All yoga is soft. But that's not entirely true. For older adults, certain poses, especially those that fold the chest or flip the body, can quietly stress the cardiovascular system. It doesn't always show up right away. But over time, repeated pressure in those positions can have real consequences. So how do you get the benefits of yoga without the risks? Stick with upright, gentle movements. Seated twists. Mountain pose. Katkaustritkies. These poses open the lungs, support spinal health, and gently engage the muscles, all without putting sudden pressure on the heart or nervous system. You can still breathe, still move, still find that calm center that yoga offers, just in a way that works with your body, not against it. Because the point of yoga isn't to push, it's to connect. And connection should never come at the cost of your safety. Now, let's take a step back. Let's look at the bigger emotional picture behind all of this. Because these changes, these adjustments, they're not just physical. They touch something deeper. It's hard, isn't it? We grow up hearing that movement is medicine. We carry that with us. And we want to stay strong. We want to be capable. We want to show our kids, our grandkids, that we're still here, still full of life. Or maybe you're watching someone you love trying to do the same, trying to hold on to that spark of independence. But then you find out some of those routines, some of those very habits that were meant to keep us safe might actually be quietly doing harm. And that's a hard truth to sit with. But this isn't about fear. It's not about giving up. It's about something much stronger than that. It's about love. It's about wisdom. It's about caring enough to make changes when they matter most. You're not losing your strength. You're redefining it. You're not walking away from health. You're walking toward a version of it that honors your heart, your body, and your years. So take a moment today, just one honest moment. Look at your routine or your loved ones, not through the lens of habit or pride or tradition, but through the lens of truth. Ask yourself, does this energize me or is it draining me? Is this building me up or quietly wearing me down? And if something needs to change, that's okay. You don't have to stop moving. You don't have to stop caring about your health. But you do deserve to move smarter, gentler, more in tune with what your body actually needs now, not what it used to need or what someone younger needs. And that's why we're here. That's what elderly care is about. We're here to walk this journey with you, step by step, day by day, not just for longevity, but for quality, for peace, for clarity, for comfort, because aging isn't about fading away. It's about learning how to shine in a different light and knowing that your heart, your breath, your strength, they're still yours to protect. And you're not alone. So let's take a moment to recap what we've uncovered today. 6 exercises that might look harmless, even healthy on the surface, but that could be quietly placing stress on the aging heart. We talked about high-intensity interval training, long sessions on the rowing machine, heavy overhead weight lifting, intense abdominal crunches, long-distance running, and deep yoga inversions. All common, all well-meaning, and all worth reconsidering as we age. Now I want to hear from you. Have you, or someone close to you, been doing any of these regularly? Have you noticed changes? Fatigue? Breathlessness? Dizziness? Tell us in the comments. Your story isn't just your own. It might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to protect their heart. Let's create a space where wisdom gets passed on one voice at a time. And if what you heard today opened your eyes, if it made you think differently about how to care for yourself or someone you love, then I invite you to subscribe to Elderly Care. This is a place for truth, for clarity, and for care that evolves with you. Hit that like button so others can find this message. Share this video with someone in your life who's trying to do the right thing, but maybe needs a little help finding the right kind of movement. Thank you for being here, for showing up, for choosing to learn, to grow, and to protect what really matters. You're not alone in this. Every heartbeat counts, every choice matters, and every moment of awareness makes a difference. Stay kind to your heart. Stay curious about your body and stay with us on this journey. I'll see you in the next video.